check. I've arrived at my spot. I'm going to be taking just 3 items with me. I've got this knife, which I made mask and snorkel, and the boardies that I've got on. I've also got this housing so I can take the camera underwater, a tripod, and then a couple of battery packs and a dry bag to keep the camera and the battery pack safe in case it rains. So the spot I've chosen is this nice little cave right next to the water's edge, but far up enough that it'd take some really big swell to actually get you wet in here. I'm gonna have to clean out all this driftwood and stuff that's washed up, get these rocks out, and then hopefully make a bit of a bed and get a fire going. And this can be my shelter for the week. So as you can see, I've now got most of the cave covered. Just covered in this kind of debris that's quite thick. See, right above it is all covered, so most of this is really just to stop the wind and any driving rain in case there's a storm, which I think it'll do pretty well. Back here at the end of the cave, you can see I've made like a rock wall. And that's so that down here, when I have a fire in here, it can reflect all the heat back to where I'll be sleeping, which is right in there. So yeah, the next steps is just kind of to fill the floor with fern so I've got something to sleep on to keep me warm off the ground, start a fire. But before all that, I've gotten pretty thirsty already just working in the sun, so I'm gonna have a look around the beaches. Hopefully I can find a creek, so I've got water reasonably close by. So looking for water, I've come past this kind of gully here where these 2 really steep edges lead out into the ocean. Anyway, as you can see behind, there's quite a big gully leading back, and we have fresh water running down the creek. So it's a pretty awesome find. It's like 200 meters or so from where my camp is, so I'm stoked with this. It's going to make life a lot easier because my backup option was walking to a water hole which is about, I don't know, 4 kilometers away, and I wasn't looking forward to doing that. So this is really good. Hopefully it stays running for while I'm here. Well, fortunately for me, but I guess unfortunately overall, whenever you're next to an ocean now, you can generally find a lot of rubbish basically that's been washed up. So you can see already I've got this little fishing float, which I'm going to grab because that actually might come in handy, and also plastic water bottle, which once again is a good thing for me because it means I can have a backup bit of water. So just from walking around, I've already found these 3 bottles, which makes it really easy. That's like a day's worth of water between those 2. And then I can use this little one just to fill both of them up. So now that the shelter's mostly done, my first priority is to make a fire because it's going to keep me warm at night and keep the mosquitoes away. In order to do that, I'm going to need to do a friction fire, which is basically where you rub 2 sticks together. But those 2 sticks need to be quite soft wood in order for it to build that ember and get going. So most of the trees around here are actually hardwoods. So there is one kind of softwood that I can use called a grass tree, but it actually lives kind of at higher elevations, not just right down the coast like I am here. So I'm gonna head up that way, hopefully gain a bit of elevation and see if I can find some. So I've just kept walking up the hill, and now I'm pretty much at the very top of the hill. I don't think I can get much higher than this. You can see the ocean's way down there, probably like 100 meters elevation lower than this. But it is really thick. So I'm gonna have to head back down a little bit and have another look around. So I've been walking along these ridge lines. I finally found a stand of grass trees. Now you can see up close what the grass tree looks like. So the tree itself is down here at the bottom, and then it's got this long, tall, flowering spike that comes out of it. The wood's pretty soft, kind of hard on the outside, but it's the perfect material for making a friction fire. Okay, this is ember number 4. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, boy. Oh. That is a fire. Whew, it's that easy. So here I am sitting in the complete shelter. Got the fire going in the back. Nice bed of ferns. That'll give me a bit of insulation from the cold underneath, and it's a bit more comfortable than just lying in the dirt. Pretty happy. I've got fire, I've got shelter, I've got water. And I just need to sort out food. So this knife that I've brought with me, I've made it out of high carbon steel. And while it works really well, it gets really sharp, holds a good edge, it rusts incredibly easy. So I don't really want to take it in the ocean. It's also got wood handles which will basically rot if they get soaked in the salt water. So I've carved out just this little stick, comes down to a nice fine edge, and that's in case I find any abalone. I can use that to try and prime off the rock. So I had a look around underwater, saw heaps of fish, managed to trap one in a cave, but then couldn't really grab it just with my bare hands. Tomorrow I'm going to try and make a spear, and then if I get in a situation like that I'll be able to put the spear through it. I couldn't find any abalone either, which is kind of weird. I don't know, I'll have a look around some other places around the coast tomorrow, see if I can find some. Did see a few sea urchins, so I think tonight's dinner I might jump back in and grab a few of them. And then there's heaps just on the rocks around here. Heaps of oysters and plenty of this mermaid's necklace, which doesn't taste amazing, but it's not that bad. And if I eat enough of it, it should fill me up for the night. Yeah, definitely gonna try and make a fishing line and hook tomorrow and catch some fish, and then probably a spear as well. I think tomorrow I'll be eating well. So to collect these oysters, I've just been giving them a bit of a tap, try and remove that shell without getting too much of this kind of grit into it. And they come out pretty easy. You get this tiny little morsel. Wash more of the shell and all that grit of it. And they taste pretty good at first. It's just, after a few seconds, they've got this wicked aftertaste. But they're not that bad, to be honest. Unfortunately, my V can had a hole right at the very bottom of the can, which made it basically useless because it couldn't hold water at all. You can see they're swimming around. These little pools are all full of mosquito larvae. So all these little pools have mosquito larvae in them, which means there's going to be a lot of mosquitoes. And I'm kind of hoping the smoke from the fire will keep them away from me tonight, because otherwise I'm completely exposed and it'll be a pretty miserable night's sleep. So you can see outside now, the sun's starting to go down. Just got the fire going, chilling here on my bed. So tonight's the first night in the shelter. I've got a stack of firewood close by so I can keep feeding the fire, but just going to try and keep it really low all night, and hopefully that way I won't have to keep getting up and stoking it throughout the night. I don't think it's going to get that cold, but just because of the fact I'm only in boardies, I'm going to definitely need to have the fire going, or else I'll be too cold to sleep. So I don't know, we'll see how it goes. So it's the second morning, I've just gotten up. It was a reasonably tough night's sleep. The fire did keep going out and I had to keep waking up to stoke it. The ground was also very uncomfortable, so it was hard to get a solid amount of sleep in, but I don't know, I probably got 5 or 6 hours, so it's not too bad. I'm starting to get pretty hungry, so I'm going to try and make a fishing line first before I try the spear. To make the fishing line, I'm using this lamandra plant, so I've just collected a bunch of the leaves and I'm going to try and weave them into a line now. In order to prepare these leaves to be woven into a string, first of all what I'm going to do is run them through the fire a few times. That kind of helps make them a bit more pliable. Then I want to get them over the edge of the knife, just run them like that, both sides. If I didn't do this when I tried to weave them, they'd just split apart basically and I wouldn't be able to do it. But by doing this, it makes the fibres inside far more pliable and easy to weave. And I'm going to split it just like that into these little sections. So to actually weave the string together, I've just tied an overhand knot here at the top with the 2 strings, and all I'm doing is twisting the right side like that to the right, and then pulling it over the left side. So now I had what was the left side, I've twisted it up, and then I'm pulling it over. So after 2 hours or so, I've got a reasonable amount of strength. I think it's going to be enough for me to try and tie to a fishing pole. So while I've been here trying to make a fish hook out of a tin can lid and a deodorant can, which wasn't going very well, I found this old bit of fishing line with a rusty hook at the bottom of it, which is awesome. Makes my job way easier. And yeah, I think I've got a good chance to catch a fish now. So for bait for the fishing line, I'm going to try and use some crabs. Just got to get So I've collected a few of these crabs now. I'm going to use this first little one, just crush it up really fine and then chuck it in the water just to get some burley going and hopefully attract the fish, and then the others I'll use for bait. Hopefully I catch something. Been fishing for a while now and couldn't really catch anything. I think the hook is way too big to catch any of the small stuff. Like you can see right where I'm fishing, it's just like a sharp drop off into pretty shallow water. But I'm gonna chuck the mask on, gonna take the knife in this time and try catch some fish underwater with the fishing line, see if I can do it better like that. Just chuck the bait in front of the fish's face and hopefully it grabs it. Or I might be able to use the knife to catch something as well. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. So I wasn't able to catch any fish using the hook with the line. I just think this hook's too big, and if I was going to catch a fish big enough to take that hook, honestly I'd probably snap this line because it's not that strong. I was able to collect some of these turban snails, which I'll cook over the fire in a bit, and then a couple of sea urchins as well. It's not my favourite. Oh. After having that one piece of sea urchin roe, it was so filthy that I threw them all back. So hopefully these turban snails taste alright, or otherwise I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be pretty hungry. It's been, I don't know, yesterday about lunchtime is the last time I ate now properly, so need to get some decent food soon. So inside the shell there's quite a small muscle that keeps this door closed in. Just a few of them. You can see there's this long kind of gut sack at the back, but the only bit I'm really interested in is this front bit here. So there is my skewer of turban snails. Got the fire going again. I'll just try and cook it slowly-ish. See how it goes. So we've got the cooked skewer of turban snail. And it's pretty good. It's quite gritty. It's not as tough as I thought it would be. It's reasonable to eat. It tastes a bit like abalone, but just not quite as nice. But definitely better than expected. I was hoping on this trip to be able to forage a bit more. Like, there's plants called warrigal greens and pigface, which are usually pretty abundant around the coast, but I think because it's so rocky around here and not really sandy beaches, there just aren't as many of them. There is a lot of this lamandra though, the same stuff I was using to weave the fishing line. And you can see it has these seed pods on it. And inside those seeds, there's actually a little edible kind of germ. So I'm going to try collect heaps of them. I've found another bottle. I'm going to try fill this up, then grind these seeds down and see if I can make some kind of bread. After about 10 minutes or so, I've already collected this much, which is enough for a test. So I'm just going to pour them out and then try and grind them into somewhat of a powder over these rocks. I don't know whether this is going to work at all. So I've been grinding it for a little while now and it's not really breaking down much. I think actually, so inside those little pods, I don't know if it'll focus on this, there's these little white things and I think that's the actual edible part. But to pick through all of this and just pick out all those little white things to then grind that and hopefully bake some kind of bread, it's just not worth the effort, to be honest. So I think it'll just be oysters and mermaid's necklace tonight. It's getting towards dusk now and I'm going to have one more try with the fishing. This time I've tried a different bait. I'm going to use this Kunju boy. Looks like that. Comes from a big thing like that. Didn't manage to catch any fish. Yeah, it would have been nice to have for dinner, but it's alright. I might try again in the morning. For now, it's still pretty early, you can see outside. But it is getting to dusk, so I'm going to retreat back into the shelter. Get the fire going a bit more and just kind of hang out until I fall asleep. So it's getting late dusk now and the mosquitoes are awful. I just keep getting bitten. I think the reason last night why I didn't get bitten was because the wind was blowing a different direction and it was blowing all the smoke through the cave, whereas now it's kind of blowing the other way and just pushing the smoke straight out. Kind of sitting as close to the fire as possible because that's where they're not as bad, but I'm still getting bitten pretty bad. So tonight is meant to be the second night, but I'm getting absolutely destroyed by mosquitoes last night and just can't see myself lying here all night, getting no sleep, bitten by mosquitoes. So I think I'm going to pull the plug and walk out. I've gotten a lot accomplished from what I wanted to do. I've got the fire going, I've got water sorted, built the shelter, got a couple of meals, so I don't think the trip's a complete failure, but it is hard to quit now. But like I said, I just really don't want to spend the night getting bitten by mosquitoes, so I'm going to get out of here.